As you can see, my saw, filthy. I use it as a workbench. I hardly ever use it unless I have to. It's not really a really safe saw nowadays. I realize a stop saw is what I want. And so it's relegated to a workbench. And I hardly do anything with plywood. Table saw, I have to have it for my shop. And this is a real powerful one. It's needed to have that much power for the stuff I cut through. So I might be cutting something this thick in hardwood, you know, and it has to have a lot of power. Well, it has its place for certain jobs. Like I want to build another conga drum, maybe a set of conga drums, because I'm going to increase my lathe skills a little bit. You know, the more you do it, the more you get better at it. And so one of the things this can do is you can set an angle and you can repeat an angle really well. And that's really good for making the pieces around the conga drum. It's indispensable for that. And with it having 220 and real big horsepower, it is a monster. Yeah. But I hardly use it. To that end, I bought a Festool skill saw because why not? And I have, this is the TS75 EQ. Second blade on it. I've probably got, probably ready for another blade change. I have those resharpened. What makes it unique is the track system that comes with it. Yeah, these are the two pieces, and evidently the last time I used it, I only needed a short piece. So it's real easy to put together and make a real long piece for breaking down a long board. And I suspect you could just buy more of those connectors and make it endlessly long. Probably have to use a laser to get it straight at that length. But I mean, everybody goes down a different track. If you're building violins first, you buy the small stuff, you know, maybe a bandsaw, small bandsaw. That's why I bought a small bandsaw. That's the fourth bandsaw I've had. If I'd have gone straight to the big bandsaw, it would have saved me a whole lot of money, but, you know, I couldn't. I just, you know, $400 was all I could afford for a bandsaw. And so I bought a little Delta. Buy what's in your available. Okay, you want to talk saws. There's a saw. Skill saw. There's the business end. That's about as deep as you can cut. It's set full depth right there. So what's that, about 6 inches maybe? I have the blade resharpened. I think that's the second blade I've had on it. I just don't use it very much. And, but it's handy to have when you need it. Here's another little thing I do. This is an old skill saw, but it came with this rig that's buried in sandpaper. That closes and allows you to cut veneer with a skill saw so that you can book match. You can get 8 pieces in there, so you can do four panels. The most useful tool, saw that's safe, is this little guy. You know, safe-ish. Lately, I've been using it to prune trees. Real good for pruning trees. Making butterflies, you've seen me use that? Making butterflies. I'd probably stir my coffee with that if I had it in the house. It's so useful. That came, I don't know if that was part of a $1,300 batch of electric tools I bought from Milwaukee or not. And this came with it. There's like 7 tools. This is not very good. Well, let me qualify that. It's good for what I use it for.
Which is?
Not much. Probably dulled it. Maybe it was better at first. It just didn't seem to have enough horsepower. And that was kind of early in the electric chainsaw craze. That, everybody's going to say, oh, that's a relic, no wonder. That was probably the first electric that came out. I'm an early adopter in some of these things. So actually, with this one right now, since I don't use this veneer cutting system very often, I've put 2 blades in there. And I use it as kind of a stack dado. So you can make cuts to hog out stuff where you would normally chisel. maybe a saddle joint or something. I'm afraid of that saw. I have more control here. And so I would never get this close to that saw, you see? But here, you're a lot of protection here. This thing, if it breaks, it's going to hit like that and curl the blade and do whatever damage it does. But yeah, it's just as dangerous as that. But still, for somehow, I feel safer with this than with that. Yeah, it's not quite 24, but they're calling it a 24. I've had a lot of these bands break, and it usually just happens in here or in there. Hardly ever anything ends up down here. I'm afraid of this one. I've hurt myself a few times, had stuff come back and hit me in the mask and skin my finger here or there. It's probably because I don't know how to use it very well. And so I don't use it. I don't use it very much. Mainly on long stuff where I can get the hell away from it and run it through a little bit at a time. Because you can see how bent the guard is up here from it smashing into stuff and doing that explosive stop that it does. Man, that scares the hell out of me. The finger eaters, you work close with these. And sometimes you'll do this. You'll use your hand as a guide. And that puts you really close to the jeopardy. I have found that there's a better way than doing that. The better way is like this. Any kind of block. Any kind of block. Ooh, my blade's bent. What happens is you'll slide off of that, or you'll come to the very end of the cut, and just as it breaks through, you'll try to catch that pressure to keep it from hitting anything, and you'll tap yourself with the blade, and you'll give you a poke, and you'll bleed a little bit. Or at worst, you'll across you, and that's not good. I've done both of those, and this will injure you really fast because they're really sharp. It's just amazing how sharp that machine makes those. And these are throwaways, so like $20 maybe at the most. I've probably had 10 of these. I don't use them very often, but they're really good for making flush cuts. Still, chainsaws. They're electric. Well, that's a good question. I bought this one, and I liked it so much that I thought I was going to burn it up. And so I bought that one. And I keep them both sharp so that I can have one by the back door and one by the front. But I just haven't sharpened them lately, and I'm about to. It doesn't take much. I've got a real good sharpening rig. Usually in the winter, I do that when I start pruning trees and stuff. Except those are corded, so, yeah, those are old. There's a lot better cordless ones now that still makes, that are probably with that same motor. Mm-hmm. Those are really good motors. So, no, it's aluminum. It doesn't care. And this rusts out a little bit, but it's a Honda, man. It's bulletproof. I have a guy that comes over, does the sawing. He's a small engine mechanic as well. And so it doesn't matter how he leaves this thing, he can re-roll it. Yeah. I don't saw with it anymore, although if he ever passes away or quits sawing, I'll have to teach somebody else how to do it. Because I'm not going to saw it. Maybe a grandson. I've got two young studs over there getting ready to be my best friend if they do this.
If you like the videos, please subscribe. It helps me do more videos and bring more content to more users. Thank you.